Welcome back to the Clay Kane Show on Sirius XM Urban View Channel 126. We were just honoring Tina Marie, so it's an honor to have her daughter here. Aaliyah Rose, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. You're so beautiful. You look like a browner version of your mom.
I get that all the time. Yeah, we look like twins. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Listen, we're honoring white singers who have soul and bring it. And your mom really was beyond that. I interviewed her, and she was of the community. She
Yeah.
was of the culture. She wasn't just like a blue-eyed soul singer. She was us, right? And when did you first? What are your first memories of your mom and music growing up?
Oh my goodness. Well, I was completely immersed in music from the time I was born. I believe she started touring when I was only like 6 months old again. So I always say my alarm clock was like her guitar or the piano from the living room. When she had an idea, she had to get it out no matter what time it was. So, early mornings, that was often how I woke up in the morning, or I would just wake up to like Marvin Gaye blasting in the house or the Temptations. And she would make these like crazy playlists and mix CDs back then, right? She was making mixtapes and I mean, everything was music, everything.
Did you meet Mr. Rick James? Do you have memories of him?
Yeah, of course. That's Uncle Rick, you know. Um, it was a big deal when he got out of jail, because he was in jail kind of when I was born and when everything was kind of chaotic. But it was a big deal. Just kept saying, "Rick's coming home. Rick's coming home." I'm like, "Who the hell is Rick?" And lo and behold, the man, the myth, the legend. I mean, he was just a ball of love. From my perspective, I don't know the Rick James Super Freak version. I saw it a couple of times on stage. I was like, what's going on with him tonight? But I mean, besides that, he was like real family, just charming and funny and very intelligent.
I read somewhere, I might have this wrong, Aaliyah. And if you're tuning in, we're talking to Tina Marie's daughter, Aaliyah Rose, that your mother would give you Black history lessons in the bathtub. Do I have
Yeah,
this right? I
yeah.
love this. Tell me something.
That's so random. Yeah. Yeah. She had she's so crazy. That's one of my fondest memories. She was so funny. And she would it started later. Like, I don't know, it came out of nowhere one day and she just had this little baby voice. And I was like, who is that? And she was like, Hattie. I'm like, who the hell is Hattie? And she would just like seriously be giving me like full blown African American studies, just me and her just joking around. And I think because she was always offended because I would call her my little white lady. My father is Caribbean American. So, I messed with her because, everybody else was like, oh, Tina's one of us. I'm like, girl, you ain't really one of us. So we had this whole little thing that we would do. And she was constantly like, I can't believe you. Just it be your own kids.
I love that. I love
Hmm.
it. You know, I, how did your mom, raising your father's black, your mother's white, raising a young black girl, how did she talk to you about race? What was the, how did she have that conversation with you about racism and what it would mean as you got older?
To be honest, my experience, my mom, the only white people I really knew was maybe in school at first when I went to a private school, and my family, my mom's side of the family. I didn't know any other. She didn't have white people around, to be completely honest. So it wasn't really something that I started putting together until like, growing up in school. Kids start trying to touch your hair and stuff like that kind of would throw me off. And I came home one day and I was like, I want you to send me somewhere where like kids look like me. And that was kind of, I guess, my realization, that things were a little bit different at home.
Wow, that's interesting. Well, and
Yeah,
felt.
I came to her with it. I came to her with it because at home it was like a party. It was just
Right.
fun. It was love. It's a different energy, 100%. So I just felt it at school, and I was like, I don't know, I'm not really vibing the way I was before. And then she went and put me in a school where it was all of us. So it was fun. I had a lot more fun.
I heard her talk about this when she, in some of her interviews, as far as why she was the way she was. Again, she was just embraced in our community. Did she ever tell you just why it appeared she was just so rooted in the Black experience? Just was she just born
Um,
that way?
yeah, she was. Yeah, she was. I mean, if you met anybody else, any one of her siblings, my grandparents, nobody was quite like her. But she was raised. She's from Venice, California.
Mhm.
And, at that time, growing up in the 60s and 70s, that was like the place to be if you wanted to be around different cultures. It was like a melting pot of everybody, and so she just gravitated. She met her best friend, Mickey,
Vicky?
in elementary school, and it was kind of just on from there. She went to Mark Twain Middle School after leaving Catholic school, and that was where she just kind of like, made all her Black friends, and they really embraced her as their own, to be honest. And looking back and being a woman, a grown woman now, it's like you have these artists like that have this blue-eyed soul. She had green eyes though, but and I don't know, nobody was like her, in my opinion, like still to this day. It was just an energy, you know what I'm saying? It's like I can't even describe it. I just, other than I think my mom was put here to bring people together and to unite people. And I think she had a purpose, and she knew she had a purpose, and she knew it was her voice, and she just went with it. And it took her a lot of places.
I remember I was just saying this earlier when I interviewed her. I said, did you ever any desire to cross over into quote unquote pop? She goes, no, I'm R&B.
Hmm.
I have no desire. She was saying Lover Girl just happened. She goes,
Yeah,
I wasn't trying to just be. I'm an R&B singer.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, she did have that one album after Lover Girl that was like a rock album, but it didn't do too well. It was Emerald City, and
Yeah.
yeah, I don't think it just didn't resonate. And then she came back with Ooh La La not too long after. So
Number one R&B hit. Yeah.
come on now. Hmm.
Your mother did an amazing version of Donny Hathaway's "Someday We'll All Be Free,"
Hmm.
um, and I'm just curious to know, what do you think your mother would think about the Trump era, where we are right now politically and culturally? What do you?
Listen, it's so funny because I always say that when all the riots were going on with the George Floyd stuff, I was like, oh, watching everything on my TV because I live in Los Angeles and it was really crazy here, and I was like, Teena would be on top of that fucking cop car right now. Sorry, excuse my language. She would be with the guitar on the top of the cop car singing, like I mean, they might have already came and knocked on our door because she had Twitter fingers. And my
Yes.
mom, I don't know if you remember, but my mom was very much active on Twitter. So yeah, it would have been an interesting thing. Yeah, I think she would be very disappointed in the direction that the world has kind of gone in. It's a little bit shocking.
Yeah, it is. So
Mhm.
before you go, give us your favorite. We're doing the playlist. Give us your favorite song by your mom.
Ooh, I mean, honestly, I'm gonna say "Out on a Limb" is my favorite.
So good.
Yeah, that's the one for me.
Your mom was authentic, and the other
Mhm.
thing too, there are some white artists who come about and they just put on black drag and just perform a certain kind of way. It was never appropriation. It was exactly who Tina Marie was.
Yeah.
And you sing too, right? You have your own music, right?
Yeah, yeah. I'm a songwriter and a singer and actress. My son, he just did a show for Peacock Junior. So we're a whole little musical family and just, immersed in the art at all times. But my style is a little bit different. I'm a little bit more current. There's a comparison constantly, and I'm not trying to be Tina. It's like I'm just what I did. And so, I just I just do me.
Right. Well, that's a pressure. You can't. I mean, she
Major pressure, and it's. But I don't really think about it too much anymore. I kind of just, it's in my heart, So you got to do what's in your heart. You got to do it, and have fun. That's the most important.
That's one last question, Clay.
Yeah.
How often do you listen to your mom's music?
It's hard. It depends on my mood, but to be completely honest, lately she's been coming on at the most random of times, and like I kind of have no choice but to listen. I just took my son to Disneyland with my dad recently, and he's been to Disneyland before, but it was like our first time going while he's 8 now, so he's gonna remember. And as soon as we got to Disneyland Drive, she comes on, and he's in the back seat, my son, singing. And I just started bawling. Like, we're driving into Disneyland, and it was like, she's like, I'm here too.
Yeah.
I'm at Disneyland. So, it comes in waves, and mostly it's exciting when I'm out. I like it when I'm out. When it comes on and I'm at home and it's intimate, that's a little difficult for me. But when I'm out at, at a bar or, at a restaurant and I hear her, it's like, oh, hey, girl.
love that.
Yeah.
Well, listen, I promise you this, that I know us Black people, we are going to always keep your mother's legacy alive, because she is part of this community.
Yeah, there's a book coming out about her life, and I'm working on a film as well. I haven't really talked about it too much, but it's like finally happening, and I'm so excited about it because I feel like her story is just, it needs to be told. It's women empowerment. It's got, it's got a lot of things that we're going through currently that I feel like are really gonna resonate with a lot of people.
Are you playing her in the movie?
No, I don't think so.
Who do you see playing Teena Marie? Any idea?
To be honest, I feel like the audition process is going to be very serious because I don't play that.
Yes.
And, I mean, people always ask me if I would do it, but I think it would be too much to make sure that it's going to be done correctly.
Yeah.
And, to oversee it, and also emotionally. I don't know if I can handle it, but I do think that there's somebody out there 100%. I know that there's somebody out there because I took my time with it, and there was a couple of times that it could have happened 6 or 7 years ago, and I was just like, and I shelved it. And now I'm working with a writer that I really love, and I work with myself on a bunch of film projects. So it's coming together.
Well, Teena's story is intense. I mean, she talked about the struggles of the music industry, not being paid, her songs being stolen. I mean, it's really intense. And I love the story of, I'm sure you've heard this. Lenny Kravitz said he was broke. He had no money. And Teena Marie took him in and fed him.
Yes. Yeah. He went to school with Jill Jones, who became like my mom's sister, and she was married to, her mother was married to a Gordy. Her mom was my mom's manager, and she went to Beverly Hills High with Lenny Kravitz, and he was going by Romeo Blue at the time. That was his name. And yeah, he came into her house. My mom's house was like a frat house, so we always had people coming in and staying for a little while and leaving. And, I think he really got something out of that time, most definitely.